Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. Star Citizen 4.4 is set to release next month, but what does this patch actually contain? As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you all so much for the support. Cannot do this without you guys, it is truly appreciated. So, Star Citizen Alpha 4.4 is the next patch coming for November, and during Citizencon Direct, we heard about a few features that we can expect to see with 4.4, but understandably, there was a lot of confusion as to what it actually contains due to how Citizencon was presented. So today I would like to run through and highlight what Cloud Imperium have stated is set to release with 4.4, clearing up a lot of that confusion, plus what might come for the IAE and what else this patch could bring. Also, today is the last day of the current TOBII Eye Tracker 5 sale, which is at 15% off. Don't worry if you missed out on this one though, there will be plenty more sales in the future, but using the link below will take you to that deal, while also providing my channel with a direct kickback. So let's start with the potential release window for Star Citizen 4.4. Now, of course, anything date related with Star Citizen is just guesswork and to be taken with a pinch of salt, but with the IAE set to take place from November 20th to December 3rd, and as we know 4.4 is November's patch specifically, it is safe to assume that we will see Alpha 4.4 release before or on the 20th of November. Now, I don't want to speculate further as to a narrower window or release window, but it isn't going to come after the IAE, so do expect 4.4 to enter the PTU somewhat soon, with a release hopefully being around this time next month. Now, with the date window out of the way, let us take a look at what is currently known to release in Alpha 4.4. Firstly, the big ticket item which we all know about is the Nyx System. Now, this is of course the most impressive part of the patch, but also potentially the most disappointing for many of you, due to the system not containing any planets for its initial release, with them intending to build the planets out over the course of next year using this new Genesis planet tech, with Nyx 3 the gas giant, Nyx 2 a pretty much toxic hellhole, and its hero planet, as they call it, being Nyx 1, all set to release next year utilizing Genesis. And if this Genesis demo is anything to go by, they are going to be pretty special, especially Nyx 1. But if Nyx is supposed to release next month, albeit without planets, what is actually coming with the patch? So firstly, there will be two new jump points, being Stanton to Nyx and Pyro to Nyx. So creating essentially a triangle linking all three systems to one another, which is going to be great for interstellar hauling missions, which we will speak about in a minute, but this isn't actually how the jump points are going to function in, I suppose, 1.0 or the final game. They are just a temporary link to allow players to get to Nyx from whichever system they're in. When Castra comes along, which we don't know when that's coming, it could be next year, could be the year after, it will go Stanton to Pyro, Pyro to Castra, and then Castra to Nyx. Now, when we first get to arrive in Nyx, we will see the new dense blue nebulous cloud, which I suspect will have quite a calm and beautiful sense to it. We will also be able to see a bit of a gap within that cloud and see the sort of red nebula off in the distance, which is essentially the location where the Vanduul system is connected, and that is going to be a bit of a visual reference for the designers to flesh out the Nyx system with more dangerous locations. So if you start heading towards that, I suppose post 4.4, expect things to get a little more dangerous out there. Whether that's Vanduul or Outlaws or both is yet to be seen. Now, also coming with the initial drop of Nyx next month is the reintroduction of the Delamar Asteroid and its Levski landing zone, along with the People's Alliance, who are the residents there. Now, this asteroid looks like it has been completely reimagined and looks incredible from the outside, especially that huge borehole that can now be flown through, but its interior has also said to have had a facelift, although watching the demo, I couldn't really tell. But I'm sure when we actually get inside, it will look much better and will have been brought up to the new standards, along with things like a refinery, cargo depots or cargo hauling services, and these external freight elevators, and hopefully the Grand Barter, which is their sort of internal marketplace, which was my favourite location, will have various shops, hopefully selling knickknacks and other oddities as well. But it will be great to finally get back to this long-awaited location. It was one of my favourite spots. Even if the frame rate was that bad, it was nicknamed Levski. Now, up next is a feature that I think is coming in 4.4, but it could be coming later. It has taken quite a lot of reruns, a lot of conversations with members of my community, listening to the show over and over again to try and figure out whether interstellar hauling is coming in 4.4 or whether it's coming post 4.4 in 2026. And I'm still not 100% convinced, as they did say, up until now, our mission system has been specific to the star system you're in, and with the introduction of our third star system, being Nyx, it's time for that to change. Now, to me, this sounds like they are saying that with the introduction of Nyx, interstellar hauling can come along. However, after that whole segment where they spoke about the Welcome to Nyx Mission, which I will speak about in a minute, he does say, we will leave 4.4 there, and I'll be right back in just a few minutes to take a look ahead at some of the things coming in 2026, at which point they sort of led on to Genesis, the Rockcracker mission and locations, and interstellar hauling. So I will leave it up to you to decide whether interstellar hauling is coming in 4.4 or next year, but I will speak about it in this video just in case it is coming with 4.4, but bear that in mind, it may not. Also, on a side note, if they can finally do interstellar missions with the arrival of the Nyx system, then what other professions or missions could we see utilizing this, where it asks us to go through from one system to the next? Now, with these interstellar hauling missions, these will include hauling jobs of all sizes, from using a cutter all the way up to using a hull C, requiring players to pick up and drop off cargo from all over the three systems, traveling through jump points to complete them. And it also sounds like it might have you picking up and dropping off from more than 2 locations throughout the mission, maybe having to head off and pick up extra cargo en route, which would be very cool. Not only that, but it will also include short timer missions, which are not my thing anymore. I'm a bit over the whole crazy taxi mission style, although it did have a great soundtrack. But I digress. This mission will also bring the possibility for some hauling jobs to lead to having to deal with potential NPC pirates that might try to intercept you mid-route. Now, this will obviously enhance the hauling profession in a big way, and should lead to not just more interesting and higher paid missions, but hopefully a potential reason to bringing escorts and affording escorts for the more dangerous locations. Now, I am really excited to see what this will all involve, and hopefully they can get ships like the Hull C working as intended consistently. But again, whether this is a 4.4 or whether this is a 2026 feature, I'm not entirely sure, but with there being a potential for 4.4, I just wanted to include it. Now, let's move on to things that we know are coming in 4.4, which are the Glacium Ring and the Kiga Belt. And these are the 2 asteroid belts found within the Nyx system, with the Glacium Ring, or Nyx Belt Alpha, being a dense asteroid belt located around the middle of the system, and then the Kiga Belt being found more on the outer edges of the system. Now, although we are not entirely sure what the Glacium Ring or Kiga Belt will offer for its initial release to the Nyx system, what we do know is that both of these locations will hold a lot of content that they flesh out throughout next year, like these Rockcracker missions. We do know that the initial release should see a lot of mineable resources within the Glacium Ring at least, albeit a difficult belt to mine, they say, due to how dense it is, but this belt is also intended to hold many smaller settlements, which says they must import goods from outside the system to survive, outlaw bases, and criminals potentially looking to ambush. And then the Kiga Belt, which is quite a far-out distant asteroid belt, and as we know, post 4.4 will hold a lot of points of interest and locations like those breaker stations. But for Star Citizen 4.4, what else will we find out there? Something? Nothing? Who knows? Again, I would like to think that mining in this distant belt might offer some good rewards, albeit potentially quite dangerous, especially with it being so far away from a rescue if something was to go bad. Now, one mission that we know is coming with Alpha 4.4 is called Welcome to Nyx, and this will not just introduce a new mission, but also some new factions, one of them being the People's Alliance of Levski. We will also hear about Intersec, who are the leading military defense contractors within the UEE, who handle jobs that the UEE military don't want to be associated with, plus Shattered Blade and the Vanduul. Now, this mission, as I say, called Welcome to Nyx, will take place at an abandoned planet logistics station that has come back online, and we are tasked with figuring out why it's come back online, and there will be mysteries to be solved, many locations to explore, as this station is very large and made up of multiple locations like asteroid bases, a Polaris, it's the station itself, and the mission will offer some combat, both FPS and space-based, investigations, and likely some good loot and rewards. Plus, as I say, it'll introduce the Shattered Blade faction and the Vanduul, which is going to be a lot of fun taking them on in the verse for the first time. Now, this mission is actually supposed to be the continuation of the ASD storyline, in which we learn more about how ASD were getting hold of some illegal black market tech. And aside from the actual mission and seeing the answers unfold, what I really love about this Welcome to Nyx mission is that it is introducing this huge new location, this new station that is full with things to pick. So being able to loot, investigate, and explore as and when we want to, hitting up the places whenever we feel like it. Now, that is currently the only items that we know are slated for Alpha 4.4, albeit the interstellar hauling missions are a little hazy. I am 100% certain that there will be other features, other content elements, and new additions included with 4.4 that we just don't know about right now, and hopefully as we get closer to its release, we will see the roadmap get updated and just see more on the PTU as well when testing begins. There will absolutely be a lot of quality of life, balance, updates, bug fixes, and much more coming along, as has been the way this year, so I look forward to hearing more, but considering I was certainly not expecting to see any of this stuff this year, I'm pretty happy to see what has been slated so far to be coming. Now, with November, as I say, being the IAE month, expect to see a lot of new ships make their way into the verse, like the Perseus, maybe the new Apollo variant, the RSI Salvager perhaps. We could see the gold standard Aurora and Hammerhead. It is safe to say that with the IAE, there will be new ships to enjoy and to take through to Nyx. So there is that to include in the list of 4.4 features. Although, we could see a 4.4.1 release for the IAE, unless they intend to release 4.4 around the 20th, in which case the 4.4 patch itself will be the IAE patch. But we don't know. And to put all of this stuff into a much easier to digest list, we have with 4.4 Levski and Delamar, the Glacium Ring and the Kiga Belt, lots and lots of mining opportunities, Welcome to Nyx Mission and the space station and the factions like Intersec, Shattered Blade, the Vanduul, not to mention People's Alliance. So lots of potential armor, weapons, and loot on offer there, and I do wonder if we can actually loot the Vanduul bodies or salvage their ships for some interesting materials. Also, talking of interesting materials, I'm sure there will be some unique minables in Nyx that can only be found there that will all play a part in the whole crafting mechanic, but we will also see IAE ships and potentially the interstellar hauling missions with their variants and external freight elevators. But as you can see, Star Citizen 4.4 currently offers some interesting, decent content that I am very excited to get stuck into. For me, the end of the year was going to be 50-50. It was either going to be nothing of interest other than continuing to improve what we already have with bug fixes, quality of life improvements, narrative storylines, and improvements to stability and performance, which has just been the way this year. And I would have been happy with that, to be fair, as I've been having a great time with the org and just getting in and playing. But seeing this stuff coming along next month, setting us up for next year with what is to come, and I am already working on a next year video, by the way, so do keep an eye out for that. But I feel like we will be in a great place as we head into 2026, with so much more of the Nyx system to come along, all of the content, all of the features, not to mention the planets. Hopefully, Alpha 4.4 will keep us going until the end of the year, so that as we enter into 2026, it is just flooding in with cool content and features. But with that said, I hope you're looking forward to Alpha 4.4, I know I am, and I will be sure to update this video series as we get more knowledge of what this patch will bring specifically. But with that said, if you do enjoy my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. Also, come and hang out over at twitch.tv/SuperMacBrother or watch me live here on YouTube. Plenty of great org ops coming along, some more off-grid stuff, and you are all more than welcome to come and hang out and ask your questions. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you'd like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. Thank you for your support, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.